Hey there, welcome to the Not Just Mama podcast, the show where we talk about building businesses, chasing dreams, raising little yous, and keeping it real through all the chaos. We're diving into mindset, motivation, and all things mompreneur life, all while microwaving our coffee for the 20 millionth time. I'm your host, Heather Madsen, a dream-chasing mompreneur who knows exactly what it's like to juggle big ambitions with a million daily tasks. Because let's be honest, we're not just moms. We're wives, we're partners, we're daughters, friends, creators, dreamers, and so much more. And just because we're raising little tiny humans doesn't mean we have to put our dreams on the back burner. We deserve to chase them, build something incredible, and make a difference, all while being amazing moms. So go ahead and nuke that coffee once again and get comfy, because we're diving in. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Not Just Mama podcast. So we're talking about something that might sit deeply with a lot of you today, especially if you're a mom who's been feeling that tug for something more than what you are currently doing, something that lets you be fully present with your kiddos while also building a life that you just truly love. So today we're diving into how to know if you are truly ready to start an online business. So maybe you've had that idea sitting in your heart for a while now, or maybe you've even just dipped your toes a little bit and started learning about it, but haven't yet taken the big leap, right? So I want to talk through 5 signs that your current 9 to 5 isn't serving you anymore, and how that might just mean it's time to pivot and finally start your online business that you've been kind of looking into, right? So grab your coffee and let's get into it. I don't know about you, but there was something about becoming a mom that almost struck me like lightning, okay? Once my firstborn came into this world, it was almost as if nothing else mattered anymore, that my number one duty in life was to raise my little tiny humans and be there for them every step of the way. My desire really was to raise my own kids and have them close all the time without sending them off to someone at daycare or just depending on others in general. I really wanted to care for my kids, and that really mattered for me. And that's not to say that I look down upon anyone who does that, and I know that as moms, we only try to do our best, right? And some of us don't have a lot of options, so I totally understand that. But in my personal situation, this was my desire for my children, okay? And it was something that was really, really important to me. The fact that I could be there raising my kids and have that desired closeness with them that I actually have today. And I wanted it not only for the big milestones, but for the everyday ones, really. I wanted those morning cuddles, the midday chaos that every mom goes through, right? And just the slow afternoons with them where we're just winding down for the night. And when I started feeling this way, my full-time job started inching towards the back burner. And it was a scary thought because I could really make good money as a hairdresser. But something really pushed me to believe that I was meant for much more than this life I was currently living, okay? The one with a job I was great at, but yet loathed with a passion. I mean, I really dreaded getting up for work each day. And when you start hating what you do, unfortunately, you start to resent it. But it was almost as if God heard my deepest desires as a mom. And maybe you felt that too. And really, when I started feeling those things, weird things started happening. I started getting in that mindset that there was something more meant for me. And when you start getting into such a mindset as that, it's also easy to get sort of like a money block, right? And when I got into that mindset, my income started to shift. And I literally wasn't doing anything different, but it was like my heart wasn't in it anymore. And that energy, it showed up in my work and in my client load and everything. I was literally blocking myself from making money, and I started not to make as much as I used to. And I actually didn't change one thing, okay? The only thing that was changed was my mindset around work. So I knew that there was power in the mind and how we think, and also the power in praying, because God really started to take my desires and what I've been praying for and started lining up my life to make light of the things I really desired. He even knew my deep thoughts without even saying it out loud or in prayer, the desires of being a stay-at-home mom who homeschooled her kids. And this year, it started really just falling into place for me. And he opened up paths for me that I barely had to try to open myself. I don't know if you've ever gone through weird things like that. But back to my story. As I started seeing my mindset shift and things start changing with my income, I really started praying and I started asking God, what else is there for me? And slowly in the quiet, little doors started to open. And I started looking into other avenues, trying to find a job that lined up with my values. And it was nearly impossible until I came across a pin on Pinterest about online businesses. And I started reading and reading. And I read that with an online business, I could create a life I've literally been dreaming of with more time and freedom and the ability to work as I pleased. I would be able to create a schedule for myself that fit in with my family schedule. And to tell you the truth, reading that was like reading something pleasant and sweet, and it brought me a sense of peace. I don't know if you've ever felt that with just anything you've done. But it was literally everything I was praying for, right? And to see that in front of your face and not take it as a sign, I feel like I would be an idiot. And I know all that sounds like such a small thing, but to me, it felt like God was giving me a breadcrumb trail, if that makes sense. And I really actually had no clue how to build an online business, and I had zero technology background. But I had this unshakable belief that this could change everything for my family and I. So if you ever felt all those things that I mentioned as you became a mom, this episode is definitely for you, because if you know anything out of that, it's the fact that it is extremely hard to find a flexible job that really aligns with family and all the duties of motherhood without sacrificing your precious time with your children. And if you've been feeling something really similar to that, if you're stuck in a position or just simply feel that way, and your soul has been aching for more time with your family, more freedom, more purpose, I feel you and I am you. And if you're thinking of starting an online business, then let's talk about how you might actually be more ready than you think. So here are 5 signs that might just be your confirmation, okay? So number 1, you feel that there is something more out there for you. And I kind of described this, but there is this deep restlessness that you can't explain, okay? You love your family. You're working your butt off and contributing to your family like you feel you should be. I mean, you're doing all the right things, but still, something just feels off to you. You keep wondering if there's something more you're meant to do. And it's almost as if what you're currently doing is not the right fit anymore. Does that resonate with you? I'm telling you, that's not just random. That could be your soul just nudging you, or even God planting a new dream in your heart, okay? Number 2, you dread going to work, even if you're good at it. Maybe you used to love your job. Maybe you were even passionate about it at one point, but now you dread the drive. You dread clocking in. You feel drained before the day even starts. The thought of going to work actually feels like you're dying inside. But guys, that's a huge sign your purpose has shifted, that what you're currently doing is no longer serving you. And not just that, feeling that way is just not healthy. We must love what we do. That's very important, and I cannot stress that enough. And really, let me tell you, you were meant to evolve, okay? We go through so many stages of life. We're always in different seasons, okay? And maybe the current job that you are at is an old season and a new season needs to start, okay? If that makes sense. Number 3, you feel like you are no longer growing, okay? If you feel stagnant in your career, like you're stuck in a loop that just keeps repeating with no deeper fulfillment, pay attention to that feeling. When you stop growing, your spirit starts shrinking. It's really important that we constantly are learning and growing in what we do. And we should really just be in love with learning more and expanding our minds in our work, okay? But if that's just not happening for you and you have lost your spark and interest in what you do, maybe it's time to build something else that stretches and excites you again. Number four, your income has plateaued or just dropped, oddly, but you haven't changed anything. Okay. And obviously, I told you my story. This happened to me. My income drastically declined. And the weird part was that I was literally doing everything the same in my hair business. Like, I never changed one thing but my mindset. All those things I mentioned previously, the decline in my love for my work, the unfulfillment, with me really taking all of that in, I created blocks, okay? And the result showed up in my real life, even though I was only thinking those things in my head, if that makes sense. God knows my thoughts. He knows how I feel. And now I believe that God was just gently leading me down another path by making that old thing really just stop working in my life and just nudging me in another direction. He was opening paths for me that I couldn't open myself. And if you start to notice things happening like this in your work and you're literally not doing anything different, but mentally feeling different, it might be time to journey into something new. A decline in what you're currently doing isn't failure either. It's kind of an invitation, really, an opening to show you a new path. Maybe it's time. Okay. And number five is for those of you who have been really looking into an online business, okay? And it's that the online world makes you feel hopeful, okay? Not overwhelmed, not stressed, and not dreadful, okay? When you think about starting an online business for more freedom, whether it's blogging, podcasting, online courses, or using Pinterest more, and I don't know if social media is your thing, but it's definitely not mine. But if that's your thing, cool. But all those things don't stress you out. In fact, something about it lights a little spark inside. It makes you feel light and free. Maybe you feel curious and maybe even excited. That is not nothing. That could be the beginning of something powerful and God opening up your mind to that. And I do have a bonus sign that you're ready to pivot, okay? And it's one of the most obvious signs. You're literally craving more time with your children, something more flexible, something you can literally do at home with your children around in the same room. But given all this, what if you are still scared to pivot into something new or start that online business? Okay. Let me say this. Feeling scared doesn't mean you're not ready. Some of the most successful online business owners out there started out scared, okay? I guarantee you 100% they are scared when they start out, but they do it anyways. Starting something new, especially with little ones, depending on you, it's actually brave. Don't let fear stop you from building a life that you actually love and you care about, okay? The most important thing in our lives is that we love what we do. Okay. And when we don't love what we do, when we are not fulfilled in what we do, what is the point? Tell me, literally, what is the point? Why are we living this life if we aren't going to live it for the love of it? Okay. Does that make sense? And honestly, starting something new, starting an online business, you literally don't need to know everything before you start. You just need to take the first step. For me, that stuff was learning about it, okay? Listening to podcasts, which is literally my favorite way of learning, and watching how others were doing it and learning from them. So if you're listening and something is resonating with you deep down, I want you to know you're not wrong for wanting more, and you shouldn't feel guilty about starting to dread something that you once loved. It just means that it's time for a change. You're not selfish, and you're definitely not silly for dreaming big. Trust me. There's so many times that I thought I was being very silly for dreaming big. And, honestly, online businesses are not typical businesses and people think it's weird, right? I've gotten a lot of looks, but, You're not silly for it. And honestly, the world is changing into that direction. You see more people shopping online. You see more people online now more than ever. And like literally, if you look out into the world, boutiques used to be a big thing, clothing stores, blah, 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 right? You literally see all of those things shutting down all around you because people aren't going in anymore to shop. They are turning to the online world and shopping online. And I'm just giving that as an example, okay? I know that's a physical thing, but it is possible that a lot of businesses, and you are starting to slowly see that businesses are starting to use the online world as a tool to expand. And that doesn't mean that you are not able to do the same thing. I want you to know that you are capable of big things, even if it seems scary right now. Fear is the number one thing that will hold you back. So don't let it get its grip on you. Plus, your kids will get the best version of you when you're feeling more aligned and fulfilled in what you do, okay? And yes, it is possible to build a business online and still be the amazing, wonderful, and present mom that you are today. Okay. So if this episode really got you thinking, I'd love for you to hit that follow button so you never miss a future one. You can also join my email list where I share encouragement, behind the scenes stories, and helpful tools you won't find anywhere else. The link for that will be in the show notes. And if you're curious about building an online business and you have no idea where to start, I have a free guide that will also be linked in the show notes below that will encourage you that it is definitely possible to build an online business and even shows you one way that you can earn an income. And of course, if you have any questions, you can email me at support@course-roots.com. Until next time, remember, you're not just a mom, you're so much more, and your dream, it's definitely worth building.